Hi, I'm Felipa, and today is day 157 out of my 365-day commitment to complete reading the Bible. Today I started on Psalm 141, where David prays that his plea may be acceptable, and he basically asks God to watch out after him, to make sure that his enemies are taken care of. And in verse 3, he says, "Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Incline not my heart to any evil thing, to practice wicked works with men that work iniquity, and let me not eat of their dainties." So basically saying, guard my mouth and my lips so that I'm not speaking bad things, that my heart is not inclining to do any evil things, and that I'm not following in the ways of and the practices of the wicked works of other men. So asking God to watch out for him. In Psalm 142, David's comfort in prayer basically says that he finds God and he finds respite in praying to God. In verse 2, he says, "I poured out my complaint before him. I showed him before him my trouble." So, you know, this verse is basically saying how when we're in trouble, when we have complaints, when we have things that we want to resolve, we need to talk to God, and we need to show him our troubles so that he is then able to help us. And David says that his spirit was overwhelmed, and that he was confused, or he was upset over the fact that it says refuge failed me, that no man cared for his soul. But to bring his soul out of prison, he is saying, he's asking God to deal bountifully with him. And Psalm 143, David prays for favor and judgment. So he's asking God to, starting in verse 3, "For the enemy hath persecuted my soul. He hath smitten my life down to the ground. He hath made me to dwell in darkness as those that have been long dead. Therefore is my spirit overwhelmed within me. My heart within me is desolate. I remember the days of old. I meditate on all thy works. I muse on the work of thy hands. I stretch forth my hands unto thee. My soul thirsteth after thee as a thirsty land. Selah. Hear me speedily, O Lord, my spirit faileth. Hide not thy face from me, lest I be like unto them that go down into the pit." So he's asking God to keep David in his favor. He's saying he remembers the testaments of the old day. He's saying that he knows that his spirit, when it's overwhelmed, that God will give him respite. He's asking for God's loving kindness, and he's asking him to teach him his will, because he knows that God's righteousness is what's going to keep his soul out of trouble. And in Psalm 144, David promises to praise God, and he just basically says, God is so great. He takes care of the wicked. He delivers people out of their troubles and out of their problems. And because David is constantly praying to God and praising him, he knows that all of their livestock will be fulfilled. He knows that in verse 14 here it says that our oxen may be strong to labor, that children will be healthy, that there's no complaining in the streets. And in verse 15 saying, "Happy is that people that is in such a case, happy is that people whose God is the Lord." So happy are the people who have all these blessings, but they're also happy because their God is the Lord, the one and only. That is it for day 157. I'll be back tomorrow for day 158 with Psalm 145. Thank you for listening.